All right, we are live for our first Facebook Live event with our chef and experts, Chef Stephan and Chef Lemaire. Really excited to have you guys on this first of a series. I think we'll wait a few moments for people to join, but we'll wait probably a minute or so. But really excited to have you guys with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Excited to be part of it.
All right, we have people joining, so we'll just give it a minute or so. As we're getting started, can you tell us where you guys are joining us from?
I'm in the Sunshine State of Florida. I'm in Miami right now.
And I am in the Sunshine State as well. I am in Orlando.
All right. Okay, I'm in the other Sunshine State. Maybe not as much sunshine in Los Angeles, California, but we get our share as well.
Yes, you do.
That's awesome.
Cool. So I have a few people joining. So I think we'll just get started and let people join. So like I said, we're really excited to have you guys for our first Facebook Live event. It's going to be the first in a series with our chefs and experts. For people who don't know about 196 flavors, I will explain what we're all about in a minute. But I just wanted to mention that we actually had this idea of doing more Facebook Live or live events in general for a while, but we were waiting for the right moment. We are also, the whole team is very perfectionist, and really wanted to make sure that we had the right people, the right content, and it was the right time to do it. So we are very excited to start with you guys. But what I need to say is the reason why we started to do it is last month we actually did a survey. And we had an overwhelming response from it. We had close to 250 people responding. And the general theme was, you guys need to do more live events and cooking demos and so on. So we had no choice. We had to get started, and that's why we did it. We understand that not everybody is on Facebook and not everybody likes Facebook. We get it. So we are doing the first one on Facebook Live, but we have in mind to do the next ones on other platforms, probably on YouTube, so that more people can join in. But the thing about Facebook is it's easier for us to manage with multiple co-hosts, and also we can get questions more easily and so on. So that's what I wanted to say. For people who are joining and who may or may not know about 196 flavors, I wanted to spend just a minute to tell us who we are. So 196 Flavors is a website that actually started 8 years ago now with my best friend Vera, who is not on the Facebook Live because she's very shy. But we started this website 8 years ago, and it was just nothing more than a fun project between friends to document and to cook recipes from every country in the world. And we finished that first project in a year and a half. And because we had so much fun, we're like, all right, let's continue. And since then, the website actually has morphed more into kind of an encyclopedia of world cuisine and food history. And now we actually partner and collaborate with chefs like you guys to make sure that our research and what we're discussing, but also the recipes, are doing justice to the authentic version of the recipe and also the history behind the cuisine and behind each recipe. So you can find us obviously on our website, 196flavors.com. And also on all our social media channels, including Facebook. Our Facebook group is probably the one that is the most active. So if you need to communicate with us and engage with our chefs and experts, this is probably the best place to start. But we are present in all the other platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and we have some videos on YouTube as well. And if you want to stay in touch with us, I guess the best way would be to sign up to our newsletter. And also our web push notifications. We send web push notifications every time we have a new article. So this is it for 196 flavors. Wanted to make sure that For people who are joining in and who don't know about us yet, you have a chance to understand who we are all about. The last thing I would say is every month we are actually featuring and celebrating a different cuisine. So last month we did celebrate the cuisine of Haiti, especially because it was the independence of the country on January 1st. And with the help of Chef Stephan and Chef Lemaire, we actually did feature about 20 recipes that were some of the most traditional recipes, and we'll talk about some of them in a minute. So without further ado, I will let Chef Stephan and Chef Lemaire introduce themselves and talk about your experience and different projects you're working on. Maybe if you want to start, Chef Stephan, and we'll get to you, Chef Lemaire. It's all yours.
Mike, I cannot thank you. I cannot thank you enough for this opportunity for me to be part of an amazing project, sharing our with the rest of the world. I'm additionally that Chef Alain Lumiere is part of this project as well. We have been the forefront in promoting Haitian cuisine all over the world. We have been privileged and blessed to be invited to a number of various events, both in the U.S. and outside of the country. And I can't tell you how happy I am to be chatting with you.
Cool. And maybe if you can tell us about you, like I mean, you were born in Haiti. You currently reside in Orlando. What is your experience with obviously Haitian cuisine, and what do you do? What's your job? Like what are the different projects you're currently involved with?
Well, about 10 years ago, obviously I was raised in Haiti. And, I spent the latter year a culinary career and in my university at States, and 10 years ago, decided to Haiti. Um, the idea came that what was my contribution to the tapestry in terms of the house, and since then, my mission. And
You're breaking up a little bit, Chef Stephan. I don't know if it's just on my side.
Yeah, it's chopping up too.
I have made it my mission to be both a champion and an advocate for Haitian cuisine, and I've been even more privileged to have had friends and colleagues like Chef Alain, who has been right beside me doing the same thing. So
Perfect. Chef Alain, Chef Lemaire, if you want to go next, tell you about us.
Yes. Mike, thank you very much. Thank you to you. Thank you to the entire team at 196 Flavors for reaching out to us and allowing us to be part of the project. Well, I don't want to say project, but the celebration month of Haiti's cuisine. It was truly an honor to be able to give my feedback and help you guys promote the culture. So my name is Alain Lumiere, born and raised in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Moved to Miami, Florida, I would say 21 years ago, just to pursue my desire to go into a culinary field. Since then, worked for several companies and then decided to go solo about 8 years ago. And I would say that I decided to go solo after I was invited to one of the festivals that Chef Stephan was doing back in Haiti called Goué Savio Lacaille. And that's when I realized that I was kind of stuck in the rut and I was not able to do what I really wanted to do. So I decided to go solo, met my business partner there, and we've been riding since then. And it's been an amazing journey. We've been able to participate in several festivals locally in other states, abroad. Had the privilege to compete on Cutthroat Kitchen and Food Network, and also last night they aired the episode I featured in Unchopped. So it has been an amazing journey. Um, you know, not once in my wildest dreams did I ever think that cooking food would take me this far. I just started doing it because I loved it. That's something that I was passionate about, but I didn't even know what it entailed, what I had to do when it came to being a professional. And I would say now, 16 years after graduation, 17 years this year. Oof. Yeah,
That's
I'm
nice.
happy. I'm really happy and continue with what we're doing, continuing to promote the culture, the cuisine of Haiti throughout the world, in any fashion that we can do.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys, for telling us about you guys. What I wanted to know to get started and to spur the conversation. So the first thing I wanted to mention is you guys can, everybody on the Facebook Live can actually ask questions. As we're doing the Facebook Live, we'll take them as they come in, or we'll just park them for the end of the event. But feel free to just post your questions on the Facebook Live itself. But just to get started, if you can, each of us can tell us about Haitian cuisine and kind of what is the essence of Haitian cuisine. For people who don't know about Haiti, or obviously you've heard of Haiti, but Haiti is actually the most populous country in the Caribbean, and it shares the same island with the Dominican Republic. I personally haven't had a chance to visit Haiti yet, but I did visit the island. So I went to Punta Cana on the other side, but I haven't had a chance to go to the other side. But it's like I said, it's one of the largest countries in the Caribbean. But what I'm interested in is if you can share what is really the essence of the cuisine of the country, and also what kind of makes it different from the other cuisines in the region in the Caribbean. If you want to start, maybe Chef Lemaire.
Okay. Hades food. Um, This is something I always say. When we talk about Haitian food, we're talking about spices, fresh. Um, you know, we love the use of citrus, the use of hot peppers in our ingredient. Of course, fresh ingredients. Um, and also most of our cuisine entails either one pot dishes, stews, or things that take a while to braise, cook. You know, it all stems back to the resources that we had, what that our ancestors had back in the days during the time of slavery. All these influences, the techniques that we got from other countries who either were part of the colonization or from bringing the cultures from and the techniques from Africa. All these things entails, it's like it's a big melting pot of things that makes Haitian cuisine. Um, and we take techniques from the other countries. We take the use of spices. You can compare some Haitian dishes to some dishes that are in Africa. For example, we do something called tom tom in Haiti, and in Africa they call it fufu. So it's the same techniques. They might use a different ingredient, but it's the same technique, the same way that we do it. Okra, all those things, goat. Those ingredients are very intertwined. And then, of course, you do have the French influence and the Spanish influence and stuff like that. But what makes Haitian cuisine so different than the other Caribbean islands, although you might find the same rice and beans. We do rice and beans in Haiti, which we call riz national or national rice, and you're gonna find it in different other countries. Like they call them. Some countries call it congri, some call it red beans and rice and stuff like that. But the difference is the spices that we use and the way that we use them, the flavors, and also the soil has a lot to do with it too. I can guarantee you this: if you go to Haiti and you take shallots or garlic from Haiti, it will taste totally different than what you eat here in the States. This more flavors, more pungent. It's I like to say, my motto is I love to do bold in your face type of food, and that's what Haiti taught me because once you eat the food, it speaks to you. Your tongue can feel all those different spices that are going on.
Yep. No, thank you so much. I was actually talking to a friend of mine talking about fresh ingredients and maybe ingredients that may not have the same flavor here in the US, at least. We were talking about tomatoes. I have yet to eat a tomato here in the US that has the flavor of a tomato. I mean, I was born and raised in France, and I don't know, I remember having tomatoes and, very, very flavorful, especially from the south of France or even coming from Spain. And I haven't found tomatoes here. I've tried, but I just can't find tomatoes that really have the taste of tomatoes. But yeah, I totally get it. There's, depending on where you are, you can have different flavors even for the same exact ingredients.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
A very funny story. A chef friend of mine, his name is Jean-Luc Grabowski, who came to Haiti not only to work, but he was running a program where he would invite young Haitian culinarians to do an internship with him at his restaurant, and where he was cooking. And he said to me, "I've never tasted a tomato until I came to Haiti. There is something about the flavor profile, like Chef Alain was saying, our soil, to the way it's grown with, very organically, that makes it very different." But I mean, Chef Alain put the definition of what Haitian cuisine is very well. For me, it's there is something about Haitian cuisine, depending on where you go in the different regions and even the different towns. The style of cooking, the dishes might be completely different. And even if they're doing the same dish, let's say in the South or in the North, there's a variation somewhere. So you are always discovering these unique and amazing dishes that if you travel the country, you will find. Unfortunately, I say that only a very small percentage of our cuisine has crossed the waters to the United States.
True.
So in most Asian restaurants, which are very mom and pop run, hole in the wall, you're going to find some of the basics. Of course, you're going to find griot, which is one of our most popular street food. And then you're going to find fried fish, and then you're going to find marinade, which is a flour-based fritter. You're going to find akra, which is another fritter but made with malanga.
Interesting.
A very starchy root vegetable, but absolutely gluten-free. So you're gonna, the cuisine that crossed the waters is very limited. But when you come to Haiti and you start to discover, you can see the influence of so many different countries. Let's not forget that when Haiti became the first republic in the hemisphere, they started to welcome other countries, other people from other countries that were being persecuted or that was running from wars, or from the Germans that were fleeing the Germans during Hitler's reign. So there are places in Haiti where you have a Polish influence. One day, my mother brought me to a place called Fondé Blanc, and when you walk into the town, you are seeing Haitians with blonde hair, blue eye, and a complete different style of cuisine that that the most popular dishes.
And you hear them speak Creole as well?
Oh yeah,
Clear as water.
they speak Creole as well, but they also speak the other languages. And you're talking about just very very peasant style of people. And then again, depending on where you go in the country, you're going to discover. I mean, don't forget, we open our doors to Syrians, We opened our doors to Lebanese. We opened our doors to Italians. We
Jews.
opened our doors to Jewish. My great grandfather on my paternal side was a French Jew that
Like
fled
me.
that fled the country to be in Haiti. And
Interesting.
he happened to he met my great grandmother in Haiti, who's from Italy. So obviously our roots is very much ingrained in African culture because of the slave trade. But we also have the influence of many Europeans, many Asians, Arab countries. So all of these things come into play in our cuisine.
In addition to the influence, we talked about the influences from
In
the
addition to the influence of France, obviously, who was
of the colons, French, even the Americans.
who
We
was
haven't
the
really
second
talked.
Yes.
colony, the
Yes,
second
even
it's
America.
colonized Haiti.
We
Absolutely.
haven't really talked about the Americans, but it's interesting when we were doing our feature, when we cooked the 20 recipes I talked about last month. There was one that stood out, which was Haitian spaghetti. And
Yes.
when I looked at the history, I'm like, it actually came with the Americans.
Yes.
And it's not even an American food itself, but they brought it from
from the Italians. Yes.
Yeah.
So when the United States took over in 1915 and invaded Haiti, they brought a lot of very simple staples that they got used to in their country. So spaghetti came to be part of our cuisine, but it just happens. It's very funny that we only the majority of the time we eat spaghetti in the morning as a breakfast.
Yes. True. And it's funny. So you also talked about regional, obviously regional variations. So that is something we haven't fully studied on the 196 flavors, but a lot of people actually asked about it in our survey last month because obviously, right now we have about 1,200 recipes from all the countries in the world, but we have to start somewhere, right? So we're going to go for the ones that are the most famous, the most popular, most of the time in the entire country. Not always, but a lot of times. But obviously, as we go deeper and we revisit countries, there's going to be an opportunity to talk about regional cuisines. And every country, most of the larger countries are going to have regional variations. For example, we did the poule ac noir, the chicken with cashews, which from what I understand, cashews are more used in the north.
More used in the north, yes.
So that's something
there are some used also in the south, but that recipe is more popular in the north.
Okay, so that is the specific recipe itself, but not so much the use of cashews is what you're saying.
The north and the south, like in the south, you'll find the use of cashews or nuts more when they're doing brittles.
Got it.
That's
some sweets and stuff like that. They got tablet pistache, tablet cocoyer, which is a coconut tablet noir. Yeah, so it's coconut brittles, cashew brittles, peanut brittles that we do it, and we even have Stephan, the one that has the little green small greens. Is that the sesame seeds one, or is it sesame seeds or?
Yeah, sesame seeds. Yes.
Yeah, we even do one with sesame seeds.
So and the way they roast the cashews as well is very regional. So if the way they roast the cashews in Cape Haitian for their poulet au noir or their pintade au noir, which is guinea fowl, very popular in Cape Haitian, is not the same way we roast the cashews to make the brittles in the South. So it's very interesting to discover those things.
Yeah, and like you said, countries or cuisines like the cuisines of Haiti, a lot of times, we've been doing that for 8 years. And when we talk, there's 196 countries in the world, and obviously people, I'm going to say in the Western world or in general, really know about Italian, French, Chinese, Thai, and there's a lot of other cuisines that we don't know about for the simple reason that first, there's typically not a big community outside, a diaspora of the country, outside of the country, which may not be the case for Haiti because, of course, in the US, especially on the East Coast, there's a big community and people are more aware of Haitian cuisine. But when you look about it from a global perspective, Haitian cuisine, like you said, is not on the global map just yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. And you guys are.
But Chef Alain and I are working on it.
Exactly. So, and that's the whole idea, because we always go to the same cuisines, and there's so many more cuisines that we don't know about, just for the simple reason that again, the diaspora is not as big. I always also take the example of India. India is a huge country. It's a continent, okay? But at the end of the day, it's a lot of the Indian cuisine that we know globally is typically more from the north, because most of the Indian restaurants and the people that left India that started restaurants are from the north.
From the north, yes.
They don't really open restaurants outside of their country. It's not in their genes. It's not in their culture, if you will. So
I want to add this also, and that's to go back to the fact that not a lot of the dishes from Haiti transferred over. The reason being also, and when you're looking at all these other cultures too, is that the main dishes that are exposed to people in the United States or other countries are the things that people would more likely to welcome. You go to an Asian restaurant here in the United States, some of the things that they sell are nothing that they would sell, that they would serve in Asia, because they conform the dishes to match the palate of people who live in the United States. So when it comes to Haiti, India, all these other countries, like, they use the dishes that people would feel more comfortable with, that their palate would more welcome, and they adapt it to them. So now the other dishes that are also that talk to you about the country, that are deep rooted in the country, they're not popular as much. You might find them in some households, but you're not gonna find them in the mainstream or in the restaurants, because people might not welcome them as much as those other dishes.
I mean, at the end of the day, you guys, you have a business, you're doing catering, or you would have a restaurant, and you have to cater to the local population if you want to stay in business.
But also the fact that what transferred really to that cross the waters are dishes that are simple and easy to prepare as well. So you're looking, a lot of fried food crossed over. Obviously, one of our most iconic dishes, which is soup joumou, is, I mean, you couldn't get.
Let's talk about soup joumou, because that was one of the highlights of last month's feature, especially because it was the independence of Haiti on the first, and this is the iconic soup of Haiti's Independence Day. So maybe can you tell us more about soup joumou, Chef Stephan?
Absolutely. Well, during the reign of France in Haiti, the pumpkin that grows, the varietal of pumpkin that grows in Haiti was not allowed to be eaten by the slaves. So in 1804, in celebration of our independence, the wife of this Alain and a captain who was in this Alain's army decided to prepare the soup and feed the whole population in celebration of our 1804 independence. So the soup joumou itself is not only an important recipe, both cultural and historical for us. So we are very, this is a pride. This is one of our pride and joys, and we're very, we're very how do I put this, defensive about this particular dish because it's got so much significance.
And I have to say, we really, really wanted to get it right, especially that recipe, because there's been some controversy recently in the past few weeks and few months about a version of the recipe that has been published in a big publication. And I understand, a lot of, and it's not just for Haitian cuisine. And by the way, we get our share of controversy as well, because we are trying our best to be as authentic as possible. But people make mistakes. We're humans at the end of the day. We make mistakes too. So we really wanted to get this one right, especially because of the controversy.
But I think it takes chefs like us, like Chef Alain, like myself, like other chefs, to say, hold up, this is, you're making a faux pas, you're making a mistake, and there is a level of respect. And even if you're going to listen, the original soup joumou, when it was created to today, has had so
That's
many
changed.
variations and has evolved. Pasta didn't come to Haiti until 1915.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
Meats were also not available.
We can't hear you anymore, Chef Stephan.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we
Yes.
can.
So the dish obviously has evolved and has had some variation. But I think what's important is not just the dish. It's the story behind the dish.
Yeah.
It's the respect for his its historical content and cultural um, relation to our country. So if you're gonna make your own variation, and you even I had a chance to speak to Chef Marcus Samuelson, who was behind this whole controversy, and he said all I wanted to do was to pay homage to the soup, but in your book you're not telling that story. It's okay for you to try to do your own creation, but don't call it soup joumou or Haitian soup joumou or independent soup, and then not talk about its historical content and cultural content. And that was
So
my problem with him.
we have these discussions almost every single day on 196 Flavors because we have decided to stay authentic. So there's different websites out there that, and it's totally fine. There's obviously there's an audience for every type of cuisine and every type
Of
of
course.
food. But we have decided to strictly stick to authentic and traditional recipes, and we'd never publish any creation of our own. That's just a choice, okay? And like you said, if you want to call it soup joumou, some people may have a problem with it. I personally have kind of a problem with it because if you call it something, it better be close to the unauthentic
Yes,
representation of the dish. There's not
definitely.
one recipe. Typically, there's not one recipe for those type of dishes that are traditional.
No,
So, but what you want to do is you want to try to capture the essence when it comes to the
that's
spices,
the word.
ingredients, the techniques,
The word.
and to
Yes,
try to find a representation of it because there's not one recipe for soup joumou, like you said.
of course. Yes, there are multiple recipes out there, and everybody does it a different way. The different some people use different meats, different vegetables, and stuff like that. And like Chef Stefan said, pasta was not available in Haiti not until in the mid 90s, 1900, like 1915 and stuff like that. So, all these things, there will be variations of the recipes, of course, but like you said, the essence, the why, the meaning behind it has to be there. Why had they have all the root vegetables, all these ingredients? She wanted not only to be like, yes, we are free now and we can have what we were forbidden from having, but also she wanted to give something that would be filling and hearty to hold you. Because soup can be something you can sit now and an hour later you're hungry, but she wanted to have ingredients that can be hearty and wholesome that you can eat and are not only good for your body because pumpkin is good for you too. So the ingredients will be good for your body and can sustain you for the whole day. If you had to survive the whole day on that, you could.
Yep,
And there
absolutely.
is also a spiritual connection also to the soup. The story is when you celebrate January 1st and you eat the soup, you set yourself up for an abundance for the rest of the year. So don't forget, the Africans came with their own beliefs and religions, and one of the ingrained practices in Haiti is voodoo. voodoo is also tied up to the beginning of the revolution, the the uprising of the slaves. So there is a lot of different connections within this very simple recipe that you cannot avoid or ignore.
It's not just a soup. That's the bottom line. Before we continue, I wanted to remind everybody who is joining us that you can ask your questions on the Facebook Live event itself. So we are starting to capture question, and actually we can start with one here that I'm going to show from Vanessa, which I think has been answered, but let's read it. So my question is for either chef. What are some popular vegetable dishes in Haitian cuisine? I had a delicious spicy cabbage dish from a Haitian restaurant had years ago. It was spicy, but I can't remember the name. Hope this is something either of you can explain.
Oh, that's pickles.
It is pickles.
It's pickles, yes. I mean, we do have different vegetable dishes in Haiti. We got legume, which can be made with either meat or without meat. It's pretty much an étouffée of vegetables, stewed vegetables. Lang panier, which is a variety of spinach that we like to do. We have our militon, which is they call it here chayote. Eggplants, carrots. These can be mixed together for legume, or well, a legume in English means beans, but in French, legume means vegetables. So we can understand that. So
Yes.
these can be done either as mixture or they can be done separately. Yeah, we do. We have gratiné de légumes also. So
With cheese?
and with cheese. Well, like I said, so these are intertwined with the techniques that we got from the French.
Yeah.
So we make a good use of these ingredients in Haiti also.
Perfect.
One of the very popular dishes that we have in our gastronomy. A lot of times, we have this dish called poisson gros sel, which is sort of it's a fish that's been marinated in sea salt, and then it's rinsed out, and then it's cooked into a broth, and it's usually served traditionally served with root vegetable. So you'll have plantain, you'll have yam, you'll have sweet potato, the white sweet potato, which is which is prominent in Haiti. So different root vegetable usually accompany the fish.
Got it. So talking about different ingredients, most of the ingredients that you mentioned, or all of them, are available in the US or other countries. What is unique to Haiti that is very difficult to find outside of Haiti?
Jonjon. I would say that Jonjon, they don't grow it anywhere other but Haiti. You can find it in other countries. It's exported, but Jonjon is a variety of
trumpet
mushroom. It's a trumpet mushroom, but it's black. And this is what it's the flavor and the color. It's what makes it so distinctive and so Haiti, right? So they cultivate in Haiti, and then we use it to make rices. You can do cornmeal with it, polenta. You can do sauces out of it. You can do certain dishes like chicken with jonjon sauce or with kalalu and jonjon. So it's I would say that jonjon is as if you were having truffles.
But
that's our fragrance. Yeah. Yes, that's our flavorful.
That is our truffles. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is our truffle. Yes.
It is okay.
And it doesn't grow, and it grows in like wet areas and dark areas. So there's specific places that where they get it. So it's not like something that you can grow it in any garden.
Got it. One pepper that I know can be found outside of Haiti, but I had a hard time finding here in Los Angeles, even though typically I can find everything. was the Scotch Bonnet pepper. We can find habanero, which is kind of close.
Similar, yes.
It's similar, but Scotch Bonnet pepper is not as easy to find outside of the Caribbean, I would say.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
we also grow another pepper that is called piment oiseau.
Yeah.
So it's a bird's eye pepper that will look like a Thai chili pepper, very long, elongated, red. There is a company that I am working with that actually does the growing in Haiti, and is now not only exporting those peppers, but they're exporting other products that are grown in Haiti.
Oh, fun fact: some of the peppers that we grow in Haiti are used in Tabasco.
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Interesting.
Tabasco, the company, they outsource a lot of peppers from different countries, and they bring them to the United States. They have this area where they produce all of them, and one of the peppers that they use comes from Haiti.
So do they actually? It's interesting because Tabasco has a flavor profile that is the same, wherever you buy the bottle. So yes. I'm interested. Like I'll probably look into it. It's interested to understand how they combine.
They do have a video on YouTube available where they show you what they do. It's the whole process of what they do, and they have their testers who are always testing the batches to make sure that they have that same flavor profile.
Interesting. All right. Very good.
Very interesting story as well. Grand Marnier, which is one of the iconic liquor beverages coming from France, actually has a property in the north in Cape Haitian and near Cape Haitian, where they grow and harvest sour orange, and the essence of the skin is what they use in Grand Marnier. And the reason why they've built this property in Haiti is because of how the sour orange is grown with the soil that is grown in. And the French are very particular about soil and where a particular product comes from. So that sour orange is used in the production of Grand Marnier.
And we are proud about our liqueurs.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Talking about liqueurs and talking about alcohol, can you tell us maybe about cremas, which is I have tasted a little bit and I love it. What is it and when is it consumed? Can you tell us about it?
Chef Alain.
Yeah. Well, cremas, is one of our popular liqueurs that we have. It's the same process as coquito or rum cream and stuff like that, but it's our version is made a little bit different, and the consistency might be a little bit different also, especially that ours might be thicker than the other ones. It's something that is mostly used during the holidays, that the consumer mostly during the holidays, but also you'll find it at parties, or you'll find it during first communions, either to drink outside or as favors that they will give you to go home with. You'll find it at during weddings also. Has a little favor, little bottles. It's something that we love. Even though it's made with alcohol, like they let kids have some of it too.
For the holidays, they can have it.
Yeah.
It's a great dessert drink. It's a great. I know myself, Chef Alain uses it in different, not only as the drink, but in different desserts. But also, it's made. You'll find that the popular alcohol that is used to make crémasse is clairin, which is agricole rum. But with the popularity of Wamba Bakur, which has been around for over 150 years, rum babaku is also used in making crémasse.
Yeah, so I was going to mention this. So clairin is this agricole rum, which is very hard to find outside of Haiti. It's a local artisanal type of rum. But I guess the best substitute would be rum Barbancourt, the clear one, right? The white one.
Oh,
The
there's
white
a
one.
couple. There is definitely a
Yeah.
couple.
There's the overproof rum from Jamaica also you can use. Um, I mean, it might be close to moonshine
Right.
also. Yeah, but it's mostly the clear rum, which is made in a different process than the traditional rum.
Yeah.
Haiti is the only country in the Caribbean with 65 artisanal rum distilleries.
Legal? No, I'm kidding.
Well, um, they produce in every region. Different locations have a style of their agricole rum, of their clairin. And a good friend of mine, Herbert Lange, his father is the great grandson of the original Babancourt. Um, he started a company called um, Vieux Labé.
Vieux.
So he brought all of these distillers together and has presented beautiful bottles, and is now being distributed not only in Europe but in the United States.
So what is the brand again?
It's called no. You can visit their IG, which is Clarion Spirits of Haiti.
Okay.
And they have Clarion Sajous, Clarion Vaval, Clarion Casimir, and they're all available in the U.S. now.
Excellent. Very good. I have a few more questions. Let's show this one from Catherine. I made a piece today to freeze, and I have also made pickles a little while back. What other spices should I keep on hand to cook Haitian food in the future? Who wants to start?
Chef, you want to answer that?
I mean,
Cloves is
AP,
important.
yes, cloves are very important, especially
Sea salts.
in sauces or doing rices. But APs, I mean, APs is like the holy grail
Absolutely.
to almost every Haitian dishes. Um, yeah, pickles is your best.
Can we
It's
explain maybe
a
what
good con.
epis is, like how you make
Well,
epis?
yeah. So APs is pretty much APs and is also a French term, but it means spice, right? So it's a spice blend that we do, and traditionally we have, you know, parsley, thyme, Scotch bonnet pepper,
Garlic.
some garlic, a little bit of some people use sour orange or lime or vinegar, and then you have scallions or
Also, so
leeks,
Chives.
chives. So um so these are the basics, right? And then you can add other flavors if you want. Other people extended it to adding onions, bell peppers. Some even people put some ginger in it. I like to put a little bit of ginger in it too, just for
I,
not
I
for
tend to put,
the health side of it, and also for some extra flavors.
I tend to put
But
lemon, chef.
lemongrass,
I added lemongrass to my epis.
really,
Yes, it's grown. It grows wild in Haiti.
yes,
really
Absolutely.
interesting.
lemongrass,
So epis, you mix everything together, you blend it. You can obviously probably freeze it. I have seen
yes,
epis being used in quite a few recipes as kind of the base, like the Spanish or the Latin you would use sofrito.
sofrito,
So similar in that similar capacity. You can use it as a base for a lot of dishes.
yes.
Absolutely.
All right, question from Julie. I'm trying to figure out dinner tonight. We had roast chicken last night, and I have the frame and some of the meat left. Any Haitian recipes you would recommend? You would recommend I try?
Mm.
Well,
Full-
Wait.
definitely Haitian patties.
Patty.
Leftover chicken. Prepare a little bit of Creole sauce. Mix all that together and make a farce. Um, so that would be one of my to go. And we tend to serve that in at parties as an appetizer or as a cocktail item. Um, that would be one of my first ideas. Chef, what do you think?
So she says she has the frame and some of the meat left over. I would do a soup with it. Um, we have a popular soup in Haiti, um,
Bouillon.
soupin. We can do soupin
Right.
too.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, which is a soup where the base is with bread, with old bread that they use to make the soup.
Baguette.
Yeah. Um, yeah, or you can do bouillon, one of our traditional dishes, but it's a little tricky to make. So if you're not familiar with it, I would venture that much into it. So
Thank you very, very much for all the suggestions. Another question from Alex. So I was in Haiti for 6 months in 2010. I absolutely love the food. I was addicted to Accra fritter. So not a big question, but if you want to talk about Accra, Accra is, so being French, knowing about the cuisine from the Martinique or Guadeloupe, Accra over there is probably a little different, but it's also a fritter. But over there, it's made more with salt cod fritter, and it's very popular in France. And I was raised on it also. Love it. But what is Accra made with in Haiti?
we use malanga. So we use malanga, which is grated, and you add some spices to it. There have been some variations also where some people do it with smoked herring,
Okay,
and but it's pretty much like a baguette style of fritter. We don't do it round; we do it like a stick. It's deep fried, so it's crunchy on the outside. Inside supposed to be a little soft, so it has some pima in it, a little spicy. And even though there's some spice to it, people use pickles with it also.
It's funny that in Guadeloupe and Martinique, Accra is what we call in Haiti marinade.
so you
Um,
have the same recipe.
no,
Uh,
no, no. So our marinade is usually flour based, and you can add smoked herring or morue or saltfish into it.
got
But
it.
we call ours marinade, and the malanga fritter is called Accra. And then in Martinique and Guadeloupe, it flips around. So
Yes. And
uh,
actually, there's also akara or akaraje from Nigeria or the West Africa, which made it to Brazil, which is black eyed peas fritters.
absolutely, which is from Senegal as well.
And yeah,
We have a chef, Chef Pierre Tiam, who came to Haiti to participate in our festival, and he made black eyed pea fritters for his demonstration.
those
Absolutely.
are really good too. Anything fried is good anyway. So
All right. Yeah.
you mentioned that those akra were gluten free. So what do you said malanga, but it's not battered. It's just there's
It's
no flour
because
based.
of the starch content in the malanga. Um, you don't need to add anything else. So once you're finished grating it, you add some épices, a little bit of green onions, a little bit of Scotch bonnet, and you're good to go. And as a matter of fact, I have a friend of mine who actually is making vodka out of malanga in Haiti.
You can make alcohol with anything, I guess.
Right.
Excellent. We don't have any more questions, but we'll stay on for a few more minutes. If there's any other questions that you have for Chef Alain or Chef Stephan, feel free. I'm trying to hide this question here. But any parting comment? I know we're coming up almost on the hour, but we had a lot of things to discuss and a lot of very good questions. But any comment or anything to say about, like, to kind of summarize what we discussed, and if you want anything for people to live with when you talk about Haitian cuisine.
Well,
Go ahead, Stefan.
for me, really, you know, our cuisine is very much ingrained into our culture and into our history. Haiti is such an amazing place to discover um, cuisine, arts, music, you name it, which is part of our culture. And I would love so much for people to open their hearts and their mind and be uh, wanting to discover, because I think that once you do that, then you leave all these ugly and negative narratives behind. You leave all these preconceived notions of what Haiti is supposed to be, or what another country is supposed to be, and you start to really suck up all of this amazing, all these amazing flavors, and you know, I say that all the time. Um, you visit Haiti, and you'll fall in love, and you'll fall in love right away. I mean, that's part of our. I think that's the way we receive you, the way we receive you in our home, the way we are with each other when we are in the country. Um, Totally changes your perspective.
Perfect. We'll get to you, Chef Lemaire, but we actually got a couple more questions before. So Julie actually wanted to know more about Haitian desserts. I know we talked a lot about savory dishes, but what about desserts?
Pain patate. We have pain patate.
Absolutely.
We have comparette.
So what it is, maybe in one sentence, because we might not.
Pain patate is made out of the sweet potatoes, the white sweet potatoes. So they grate it and they just cook they cook the life out of it.
It's kind of a sweet bread, brioche, or
no. It's almost I wouldn't even say bread pudding because there's no bread.
Yeah, but it's very gooey.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then we serve that with a rum raisin sauce. We have something that we took from the French, which is called blanc manger.
Blanc manger, yeah.
But that we make with our own spin and our own spices in there.
So kind of like panna cotta a little bit.
Yes.
Almost, yes. Absolutely. We have blanc manger. We have our pineapple upside down cake, our rum cake. Of course, we have our beignets that we do, especially during carnival time,
with bananas in them.
Absolutely, with crushed bananas and rum.
From traditional beignet, or?
Oh no, the traditional beignet is more like a donut, where ours is usually comes flat.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
And we have a lot of also other desserts and sweets that we have that are very
douce macos.
We have pastries like French pastries we do also. We all those influences, Napoleons, we have cream tarts, these things are very popular in Haiti also. Everybody that grew in Haiti grew up on these items, pain au chocolat. So we have these items and we have them also intertwined in our culture and our history of the food that we have. And then we have, say we have like those other grab and go desserts, like comparé, douce macos. Douce macos is made out of milk and sugar. If you go to where they're making it, they will not tell you what they use exactly in it.
No.
It's made with milk and sugar, but that's it. And this is something very popular in the South. It's originated from the South.
Absolutely.
Got it. And as we mentioned before, cremas can be used as a dessert too.
Yes. Yes.
What is the national? I don't know. I mean, that's a question that we get a lot, even from other countries. A lot of times, the answer is that there's not really one national dish. A lot of times, so it's kind of hard to, give an answer. You have to pick one or two. Which ones would you choose?
Well, rice and beans is called, for us, it's called riz national. It's our national rice, but I think, what do you think, Chef Alain? Griot?
No, isn't it? Because I think I was looking to something recently, and it says that the rice and beans with the pula sauce would be considered our national dish.
Absolutely.
Yeah, poulet créole.
Poulet créole. Okay.
Yeah. So it's stewed chicken and the tomato-based sauce with the red beans and rice, and then a side of plantains, I believe, I think, or salad. But it is. I think that's one of the most common dishes in Haiti. Not in the States, but like in the States, griot is also almost like the most popular one. Region John is very popular here in the States, but but in Haiti, I would say that national dish would be the ricole. We have the red beans and rice with the Creole stewed chicken.
Got it. We have another question about the Haitian cuisine. Like, where can we taste Haitian cuisine in the Miami area? Since you guys are in Florida, maybe you can mention.
Yeah, I'll let you answer that.
I mean, there's a plethora of Haitian restaurants in Miami. Like Stephan said in the beginning, a lot of them are mom and pop shops, hole in the walls type of places. Um,
But there's a
I
few
mean,
city restaurants. You
yeah,
have Chef Ivan Cookhouse in North Miami,
yes, yeah,
uh,
Casa Champet.
Casa Chapet. You
It's
have
it's in Pembroke Pines.
Hollywood, in downtown Hollywood, called Schwa, which is CHWA.
WA.
They're in downtown Hollywood area. Um, One very popular restaurant that used to be in South Beach and now is closed, called Tap Tap. But listen, if you want to look for a Haitian restaurant in South Florida, you'll find it.
Yes,
Yes.
and there's also an app also. It's called Tap
Called
Tap Now.
Tap Tap Now.
Tap Tap Now. If you download the app, and it will give you all the Haitian restaurants in your area, wherever you are in the world.
Oh, it's just for Haitian restaurants?
Yes,
Yes, right
Wow.
now just
yes,
for restaurants. Yes.
yes. It's
Very
called Tap Tap Now. Yes.
excellent. I think we are done with the questions. So maybe I'll Chef Lemaire, if you want to give any kind of parting comment about the Haitian cuisine, what you want people to remember about Haitian
Okay.
cuisine.
So first of all, I want to say again, thank you, Mike. Thank you to the entire team at 196 Flavors. Yeah, I mean, like we said during the conversation, Haitian cuisine is pretty much intertwined to our culture, and I can say this goes for any cuisine around the world. You can't talk about the food without talk about culture or history, because the history, the setting plays an important part in it. And um, if you do get to experience authentic Haitian cuisine, you will be able to see the difference and how we make our food and the flavors that we use. And then if anybody ever get a chance to travel to Haiti, you know, get to experience it. Don't go for the traditional things that you go in the States. Go for the unconventional things, experience food. And this goes if wherever you travel in the world, do not go to Dubai and go eat KFC, please. If you're going to Dubai, experience the cuisine from that country.
And
Uh,
we have so many amazing chefs that are actually
yes,
around in Haiti. Chef Tony, Chef. We have
David.
Chef David. We have so many amazing chefs that are actually on the ground in Haiti. And I would, I would be remiss if I did not invite. If you are a foodie and you want to really experience food in Haiti, every September we bring you Goût et Saveur La Caille, which is the food and wine festival in Haiti, where you really get to discover an array of amazing chefs and restaurants and dishes. Chef Alain Lumiere has been a staple in this festival multiple times. Unfortunately, the past 2 years we've been unable to produce the event, but we'll be back, and I hope that you will all, just make a decision to come visit.
And hopefully you'll have it in other cities, maybe on the West Coast. But no,
No, you know what I'm thinking, Mike? I think a festival with 196 flavors would be amazing.
yes, we're presenting the different countries, the authentic recipes. Obviously, we thought about it. It's been on the back burner, but there's so many things to do. We're
Let's
starting
talk
with the
about
Facebook
let's
Live.
talk about that. Let's talk about that. And
I'd
even
be
even a
very
cookbook,
interested.
and even a cookbook with all these chefs that you have as part of this amazing
So
project.
Just one little mention on the cookbook. It's interesting. You mentioned, I was going to mention it earlier when you talked about authenticity and the fact that people, you have to adapt to the local flavors and palates and everything. We have been approached. The problem is, if you want to, obviously publishers want to sell books and they want to dumb down recipes so that everybody can make them. And it's not us. We are not dumbing down recipes. We are keeping them real. So there's kind of a disconnect here where people want to sell, publishers want to sell as many books as possible. And we're not about that. We're not about quick and easy recipes. There's thousands of websites for that.
I was in touch with a gentleman who just produced an amazing book with black chefs, with over 100 black chefs from all over the country. And I think he would be a great partner for 196 Flavors.
I just need to get a little more tan, maybe, no?
We'll have time to talk about that again.
Well, thank you so much for being part of our first Facebook Live. I'm really, really appreciative of you taking the time. We went a little over than we had anticipated, but there were a lot of very good questions. This Facebook Live will be obviously on our Facebook page, so available for people to watch later if they could not make it today. I will highly encourage you, of course, to visit our Haitian pages on our website. We have about 20 recipes, a lot of them that we discussed today. So if you are looking for the authentic recipe and the history behind it, head over to 196 Flavors. And feel free to also to send us feedback. I mean, this Facebook Live kind of came up just because we had an overwhelming feedback asking for more live events. So we will hear your feedback and we'll make sure to respond to it with the help of our chefs and contributors. So thanks again, Chef Stephan, Chef Lemaire.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great rest of the day. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, Chef.
Bye-bye.